Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream. I'm super excited to be here doing the stream with you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me on a Sunday night. If you're new to our channel, we do these every Sunday night starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. For me, it's 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Or if you're Shannon, it's 7 p.m. Central Time. We're all over the place. We're all over the map here. Welcome everyone. Yensid, Sam, Alex, Shannon. Shannon's already being mean to me. Thank you so much. So I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about non-Disney animation. For the past few weeks, at least when I was hosting the show, you guys said that, Into the Spider-Verse is one of the best animated films of the last year. And going into the Academy Awards, I fully expect Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to win Best Animated Picture. Spoiler, if you're a Podcast 1901 listener, that's my pick for the Oscars. Sam, Mountain Time. Hey, shout out your time zone if you're in the chats. Thank you guys for all showing up. But I wanted to talk about the best non-Disney animated films of all time, the ones that are our favorites, the ones that we love, that should get a shout out. Because there's a lot. We talk a lot of Disney on this channel and all of its subsidiaries. Of course, we talk about Pixar. We've talked a little bit about Studio Ghibli, not that much though. I would consider that more non-Disney, Pixar being more Disney. But we don't really talk DreamWorks, Illumination, any of the other Japanese anime that's out there. We don't really get to talk about that kind of stuff a lot. Sony Animation. So I wanted to come on here and talk about all of our favorite animated films that we've ever seen. I've always kept a whole collection of Disney animated films. But I remember as a kid, one of my favorite films was and also kind of weirded me out, The Secret of NIMH. Secret of NIMH was one of my favorites growing up, as well as I put him in the headline of this, or in the thumbnail of this video, which is Fievel. An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, which was the sequel to An American Tail. I really liked that one. I like both American Tail and American Tail, Fievel Goes West. But the Western thing, I just loved. My grandfather was into Westerns, so I kind of grew up in that mentality of watching old Western films, and Fievel Goes West was my Western film as a kid. But what are some of your guys' favorites of all time? What are those movies that you, pardon me, those movies that you saw that you loved, that you just had to watch over and over again, or those movies that you think don't get enough appreciation because they're not Disney? Disney's mainstream. Worldwide, pretty much Disney's mainstream, but there are so many different pockets of animation throughout the world that don't get recognized. And we can talk about animation, classic hand-drawn animation. We can talk about computer-generated animation. We can talk about stop-motion animation. All of those things, to me, are animation. For example, this past year, Isle of Dogs, one of my favorite movies I saw. Alex said, Road to El Dorado and Your Name. Just watched it this week. Yes, I'm very well aware that you just watched Your Name this week, which is a pretty sweet anime, because Shannon was all about that this week. So thank you. Overjoyed. Brittany, welcome, Brittany. I didn't say welcome. Kung Fu Panda always gets a good laugh out of me. It's such a fun animated film. Fun story. So at Universal Hollywood, they replaced the Shrek Theater with this DreamWorks animation theater so they can switch out films. And for right now, they have a Kung Fu Panda. I forget the actual name of the attraction. But Angie and I got invited to the premiere of that attraction. I remember seeing a couple other YouTubers like Black Nerd was there, Andre was there, and we got to see, I was like feet away from people who produced that film, who animated that film. I was feet away from like the person in charge of all of Universal, not just like the theme parks, but like the entire company. crazy. And the attraction is pretty fun. I actually enjoyed it, a little theater show. So go check that out at Universal Hollywood. And I think it's coming to Universal Orlando sometime soonish. Yeah. The Last Unicorn and The Castle in the Sky were some of my favorites growing up. Shannon, I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised at all. Um, let's see. Yensid said, "I'll throw one out there. Cats don't dance." I I feel like I remember Cats Don't Dance, but I can't like place it in my head. You might want to give me like a synopsis on that one. I'm not 100%. Um, everyone's suggesting Brittany to watch Your Name, so yeah, go watch Your Name. Um, the first two Shrek movies, yeah, the first two Shrek movies are pretty good. I actually do own both of them on DVD. Um, I think it also comes with the Christmas special. I'm not 100% sure. There were a couple of like Shrek shorts. I think it has the. I have watched in a long time. Um, oh yeah, the Iron Giant is amazing. Brad Bird, of course, went on to do The Incredibles well after the Iron Giant, but really good. Yeah. Um, Rockadoodle, right? I believe that's a movie. That's a Don Bluth movie. There's so many Don Bluth movies throughout this. I mean, I said American Tail, but Rockadoodle was one of them as well. Um, that I grew up on, like mid '90s was when that came out. Um, Sinbad, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, there were a lot of like almost like biblical ones, like right Road to El Dorado. Um, there's another one from DreamWorks. This that if anybody can tell me what it is, I forget. Um, early on, no one said Madagascar. Madagascar is up there. That's a good one. DreamWorks. And I am actually of the mindset. Somebody said because when I posted this Prince of Egypt. Thank you, Alex. Um, when I initially posted this, people started to like add in their picks even before we went live, and somebody said um, does the first Despicable Me movie, and I've only seen the first Despicable Me movie. I refuse to watch Minions. All of the sequels to Despicable Me don't look good, but Despicable Me is fantastic. I enjoy that film thoroughly. I don't enjoy how much room it takes up at Universal Hollywood. Like it has a whole entire land dedicated to it, and plus an attraction, and none of it is good. None of it is good. Um, oh, Swan Princess, that was brought up. Good pick. Anastasia, that goes along with that, of course. Um, Jensen, great. Cats don't dance spot. Cat named Danny goes to Hollywood to become famous, but he and his friends get put down by a maniacal Shirley Temple character who makes extremely insane faces. This sounds like this had to have been a Warner Brothers film. This had to have been. It sounds like something that they would have done. I'm pretty sure. Alex, get out of here with your Barbie movie recommendations. That is hilarious. Rugrats, like all the movies that were Rugrats, Nickelodeon did a fantastic job with keeping Rugrats alive, didn't they? Like, they just kept that going for a long time. Also, um, someone said, uh, someone said that did I say it? Maybe I think I said it to somebody the other day that the SpongeBob movies are awful. Do not see them; they are bad. That's in my opinion. Um, if movie continuations count, the Rugrats movie, the Simpsons movie is okay. It's okay if we're gonna do those kind of continuations. Sure. The same with like any of the. I've never been a big Family Guy person to begin with, so like any of the Family Guy movies, like Blue Harvest, even though it's Star Wars, it doesn't really excite me very much. Brittany said that I have a lot of anime related favorites. Mary and the Witch's Flower, Porco Rosso, The Cat Returns, the list goes on. Somebody which is funny. Again, I posted this on the community tab on YouTube yesterday, and somebody posted, "You'd better talk about Wolf Children." And I've never seen Wolf Children, and I feel really bad now that I've not seen that film. Um, I've I've only watched a few animes. Unfortunately, like the style is really beautiful and the pacing is beautiful, but something just doesn't connect with me. And I don't know what that is. Angie and I have owned My Neighbor Totoro for like a year, and I'm sad to say that I have yet to watch Totoro. I'm sorry. Tons of sixes. Welcome to the chat, first of all. Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Those are classics. Love those. I have not seen the 400 sequels to Land Before Time, but I will say that I do enjoy the original. Don't step on the cracks. You break your mother's backs, right? Balto. Shannon shouted out Balto. There were a lot of freaking movies that I don't think about all the time that we're not talking about. Some of my favorite stop motion, of course, Corpse Bride, which is not Disney. Corpse Bride is amazing. Um, you have to talk about Leica, right? Family Guy's Star Wars parodies aren't movies. They did release a film called Blue Harvest. I remember the first time that I could rent it was at Blockbuster Video, so I do remember that. I'm not sure if it was like 2 episodes in a row, um, or 3 episodes, whatever the case might be, of Family Guy, but I do remember that I could rent it. So I'm just going off that. Daryl, welcome to the chat. Daryl from the Story Geeks is here, everybody. Go check out thestorygeeks.com. They just did a show about Superman. I'm going to be on a show coming up soon about Tim Burton films. It's going to be fun. But he says Kubo and the Two Strings, totally, absolutely, Coraline, pretty much anything from Leica, Paranorman. Again, Universal Studios Orlando or Universal Hollywood had a great like little setup of miniatures from Leica about a year ago. It was kind of fun to see all those different things. Um, Brittany said Ghost in the Shell is another anime classic, had a huge impact on American sci-fi films that came after it, like Matrix. I have a friend Mike. He's really huge into anime, and I actually want to talk to him more um, about anime. We did a Modern Mouse Radio podcast episode a while back. If you're not familiar with our podcasts, to anybody who's in the YouTube sphere, Network 1901 also has 2 podcasts a week. Podcast 1901, which comes out on Mondays, and then later in the week we have Modern Mouse Radio, where I kind of deep dive into things. And Mike came on to talk about Japan's influence on animation and in America, and I believe that he brought up Ghost in the Shell at that point. But we talked about Studio Ghibli as well and its impact overall. Shannon said Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Okay. Okay. Daryl said Iron Giant. Did anybody mention it? Yes. Yes, we have definitely talked about Iron Giant. You got to talk about Brad Bird, right? Um, all the sixes said American Tail. I did bring that one up already. Yeah, American Tail. Um, and Chad said, yeah, the Family Guy Star Wars parodies were episodes that aired on TV. Okay, I didn't know that. I just thought that they were originally released as Blue Harvest. Um, yeah, I think so. My wife's here. Angie's here. Hey, let her know that that you're happy to see her. If you didn't check out Angie's video from this past week, it's about Pocahontas and her personality type. Disney Vibe Personalities is a new series that we're doing. We've got 2 episodes of that series out. So if you're interested in people's personality types, Shannon did a personality type about Elsa from Frozen, and then Angie just did Pocahontas. They're fantastic videos. Some of the DC animated films are really great too. Yeah, actually, I would say some of the Batman films are fantastic, and maybe because they're animated, they don't get the shout that they deserve. But there's some really great storytelling in the Batman animated films, especially because the Batman animated series was so fantastic. They just kept that going. Mark Hamill, obviously, voicing the Joker. fantastic stuff there. Um, yeah, Under the Red Hood is one of Daryl's favorites. That's great. Um, I remember growing up and watching like everything. I loved Batman. Everything Batman. Give it to me. I strangely hated Superman. Pokemon the first movie is still just as intense as when it was first released. Angie and I actually talked about like going back and quite a while ago, going back and watching like every single episode of Pokemon, and I think we probably got a couple of seasons in, and we were like, "This is too much to watch all at once." It's like watching Game of Thrones all at one time. Um, Chad said it's funny that in the 90s, every other animation studio tried to be like Disney, and now so many animation studios try to be like DreamWorks. Well, I think DreamWorks was trying to be like Disney until they tried to be like Pixar, and then everybody tried to be like Pixar. So that's what I would say. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that everybody's trying to be DreamWorks. I don't think that DreamWorks is like the bar, but DreamWorks has had some great films. I think Shrek came out at a time um, when Disney wasn't that great, and when Pixar was pretty good. But Shrek was like, "Whoa, this is amazing! This is something that we want." And I think you're right in that sense that kind of anything beyond Shrek did try and copy Shrek a little bit. But I think Pixar is definitely the bar that people have strived for a long time. Magnitude Review says Wolf Children is one of the best animated films ever made. I'd say it's better than tons of the Disney classics. Okay, this is the second time I've talked about Wolf Children. So the animation in it is super fantastic. I watched the trailer earlier today because I felt guilty that I hadn't seen that film yet, and it makes me want to see it. And I'm not super huge on anime, and the fact that it made me want to see it and like how beautiful the animation is, super interested in it. Really want to watch it. So please don't mind me if I haven't seen Wolf Children. I'm sorry. Angie said, "What about the Charlie Brown movies? All the different like specials." I'm such a huge Peanuts fan. I feel bad that I haven't actually seen the Peanuts movie that came out a few years ago. I've seen all of the specials, all of them. I love Peanuts. I have, I think, most of the comic strips from like 1950 up into the 70s in book form somewhere. But yeah, Bobby, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Sorry you're late. Don't be sorry. It's totally okay. Alex said, in terms of quality of character animation, DreamWorks tradition stuff is actually really fantastic. Road to El Dorado has some beautiful stuff. But one of the things that made early DreamWorks great is the fact that so many people basically left Disney to go work there. And so the fact that Jeffrey Katzenberg was the head of Disney Animation and then became the head of DreamWorks, and they had Geffen music behind them, so you basically could get like all these different musical stars easily. I mean, it was like a no-brainer initially. Like DreamWorks had it made right up front, with all the knowledge that so many people brought to the table. I'm surprised that DreamWorks hasn't done better in recent years. It seems like they've kind of lingered on the same 3 or 4 different franchises for a while. I'd love to see some more original content coming out of them, and especially if DreamWorks decided right now that they were going to go back to traditional two-dimensional animation, hand-drawn two-dimensional animation, they would be so well received by so many people, because so many people are dying for stuff like that to come out. And I think Into the Spider-Verse has shown that a lot of people are interested in something that doesn't look like Pixar or that doesn't look like a traditional CGI film. I think DreamWorks should run that route, to be honest with you. Shannon, you ever heard of Wolf Children? I didn't until earlier yesterday, and you should go check out the trailer for it because you'll be like, what have I missed out on? It's fantastic. It is. Pixar is a good animated movie studio, but Shrek is really good. Shrek is good. Like, no matter how bad you want to like knock DreamWorks or you want to side with like Disney and Pixar, whatever the case might be, I love all animation. But because it's not Disney, people want to like crap all over Shrek. But Shrek is a fantastically funny movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. It makes me want to go watch it right now. Alex said the new Peanuts movie is so cute, and I do really want to see it. Bobby said Peanuts movie is great. Kept true to the animation, but slightly updated. I know I really, really want to see it badly. Jensen said, I like the pseudo 2D films out today, like the Peanuts movie, Captain Underpants. Still makes me sad that there's not many new two-dimensional films. Yeah, I agree. Again, if DreamWorks decided to go more two-dimensional, I think that they would be killer. So many people now saying they miss 2D. Um, Brittany said, I've always loved the original Dr. Seuss adaptations. Totally agree. And I love the later ones too. I didn't see the latest Dr. Seuss's Grinch, although I saw it at Redbox the other day and I almost thought about picking it up. But Horton Hears a Who, fantastic. Love that one. Um, yeah, thoughts on the Breadwinner and Song of the Sea? I didn't see either of them. I actually saw previews and bits of Song of the Sea when it was up for the Academy Award. Looked like a really beautiful film. Want to see it. Still haven't seen it. Not sure when I'm going to get around to it. I feel bad. Breadwinner, I'm not even sure what Breadwinner is. If you can leave a synopsis in the chat, I would love to hear more about that film. That would be great. Um, Chat, when I was about to mention the Peanuts movie, you started mentioning it. Yeah, great. Oh, you'll love Wolf Children. Okay, I should definitely see this. Um, Good to know. I want to see a Shrek prequel and tell Shrek's backstory. That'd be interesting. Um, yeah, we could definitely go that route if you want to go that route. I don't know if you've seen this. There are is it Shrekies? Something like that. There are people that like literally want to be Shrek, and it's like this weird cult of people that just love Shrek so much they want everything to be Shrek, and they believe that they're ogres. Maybe it's like ogres. I'm not sure. It's like some weird cult of people. I'm not sure. That's getting too weird for me. Um, yeah. Uh, the problem is not enough people trained in two-dimensional animation anymore. That is definitely something. Alex, you should train everybody in two-dimensional animation um, because you're so good at it. All of your little characters that you've drawn as of late, including your one that you just put out, there's a little bio of yourself. That was super cute. Great job. Go to Alex's Twitter if you can. She's fantastic. Fantastic. Uh, yeah. Now this is people talking about Raylo. Daryl, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Yeah, that's fun too. That's I forget who even made that. Is it Illumination that made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? I don't even know. There's any talk to Alex. She knows. Alex does know a lot about everything animation. I do need to watch more anime. I do. And I would love to get more into Studio Ghibli. That's something that I actually would like to do more of on the channel and talk more of in that regard. One of the things that's interesting in the past couple of months is that uh, Network 1901 has been really revered for uh, all of our animation talk. And we kind of started out as talking just kind of everything Disney. So we talked about animation, we talked about live action, we talked about the theme parks, and we've kind of narrowed more less of the theme park talk, more of the movie talk. Um, but yeah, I was usually the theme park guy, and now I feel like I'm I'm an animation guy. I've got to like switch gears, so I'll get on top of that. Kubo and the Shoestrings, yes, beautiful film. Totally agree. Um, Love it. Song of the Sea is on Netflix. Okay, that makes it easier for me, and I will gladly watch Song of the Sea on Netflix. Um, Going with that one. Brittany said I actually enjoyed the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch. I'm gonna assume. Sony made Cloudy. Okay, Sony then is on a freaking roll. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Loving Sony animation these days, for sure. Ernest and Celestine and the Big Bad Fox. These really were well done and cute films from France. Interesting. I remember Ernest and Celestine. I don't remember the Big Bad Fox. These are things that I'm gonna have to definitely look up. Thank you. Thanks everybody for like bringing these to my attention. I really enjoy them. Aaron, welcome to the chat. And Captain, I didn't say welcome, but welcome to the chat. Aaron says Prince of Egypt is my favorite animated movie. of all time, like out of anything, that is impressive. Prince of Egypt is fun, it's nice, but I wouldn't say like to me personally, I wouldn't say it's like better than Lion King or something like that. But to each their own, man. Prince of Egypt, go for it. Yeah. Attitude said Breadwinner was a film nominated for Best Animated Feature in 2018. It's on Netflix. The film itself is all about a girl who lives in 2001 Afghanistan and is controlled by the Taliban. Oh, I do remember this film. I didn't watch it. I watched like clips from it because I always gear up for the Oscars. I do remember hearing about this film and seeing a few things about it. But like, yes, if it's on Netflix, I will watch it. I swear, I will watch it. Alex even says that she read the book. Good job. Recommend The Triplets of Belleville. It's a French animated film from the early 2000s. You guys are like way into animation more than I even thought that like anybody would be. This is amazing. There's a lot of great 2D animation that's coming out of Europe. Yeah, not out of the U.S. That is for sure. That is for sure. I like the Madagascar series and Kung Fu Panda. Peter, welcome to the chat. I appreciate you coming and hanging out. Thank you so much. Shannon said I've had Prince of Egypt for forever and still haven't watched it. That's how I've been with My Neighbor Totoro. Feel really bad that I haven't watched it. I do enjoy it more than The Lion King, but it's a really close second place. Yeah, I mean Prince of Egypt. Was that their first? Was that DreamWorks first, or was Road to El Dorado their first? It was like one of those two. And I remember being super impressed when I first saw this new animation team was like super rivaling Disney. And like now I know the whole backstory with Jeffrey Katzenberg leaving to start um, DreamWorks, but that's interesting to me. Aaron said Prince of Egypt was their first. Okay, so that's even more impressive, right? That Prince of Egypt was like their first film. Um, Alex said I only saw Totoro really recently. It's so cute. I know. I need to get on it. I'm sorry. Um, Angie said, "Oh, she's backing me up. The Shrek people are called Brogers. Brogers. Go look up these people called Brogers. They are weird. That's all I gotta say. I really want to see MFKZ, that French animated film. Looks badass. I don't know this film, MFKZ. Uh, oh, oh, that looks awesome. I'm all over this. This, I mean, I'm seeing just still images, but like, this looks cool. I'm into this. Obviously, it's mother effing something something. Um, but I'm into this. I could definitely jump on this bandwagon here. Okay, gonna see this film. I'm gonna have to write down all these films that you guys are telling me. Um, let's see. If you Captain says if you can catch a Ghibli film screening at a theater, then I recommend that. They all benefit from being seen on the big screen, and stuff like that is pretty common. Yeah, I do see like Studio Ghibli film festivals, and actually, I don't know if you're familiar with because there's about a dozen of them around the U.S. or maybe about 20 of them now around the U.S. Alamo Drafthouse, that theater chain, they usually have specials. And I remember a few years ago they had like an animated month of Japanese anime, and they had quite a few on there. I know Kiki's Delivery Service was on there, and I believe My Neighbor Totoro and a few others were in that as well. But they do stuff like that all the time. So yeah, definitely, I will check that out. Jensen said we could do better. It just takes more people in studios like with Into the Spider Verse to take more risks. Um, yeah, 100%. A little bit more risky. Take the leap. You know, take the leap of faith. Toy Story was a risk for both Pixar and Disney, and it's like one of the greatest films of all time, according to the American Film Institute. It's one of like two of the animated films in that list, and the only other animated film on that list is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because again, it was a risk for Walt Disney. So jump out there, you know. I wish those film festivals were closer to me. My Regal Theater doesn't run them. Yeah, you gotta jump on that, man. Gotta jump on that. You gotta get an Alamo. You gotta send an email to Alamo Drafthouse and be like, "Hey, Drafthouse Theaters, open one up by me." To add to the theaters comment, if you haven't seen Spider Verse yet, please see it before it leaves theaters. 100%. It's a fantastic film. It looks amazing on the big screen. You've got to see this film. Soundtrack is really awesome too. Like it made me want to dance. In fact, the kids sitting next to Angie and I at the theater were like up and dancing during some of the songs. It was incredible. They had a fantastic time at that film. I had a fantastic time at that film. Into the Spider Verse is for everybody. It's for everybody. Daryl said, "Did anyone see The Little Prince?" That was on Netflix a few years ago with Jeff Bridges voicing the Aviator. Um, no, I haven't seen it. I actually saw it yesterday. I actually went and watched the new Carmen Sandiego show on Netflix. Which, by the way, I'm gonna do a Patreon. If you're one of our patrons, I'll be doing a Patreon exclusive. Um, what would you recommend podcast about Carmen Sandiego? Because I've got some interesting thoughts about that show. But I saw Little Prince and I was like, I gotta watch this sometime. Um, Aaron said, "Your Name is one of my favorite non-Ghibli anime films." Yeah, Alex and Shannon just brought that up earlier because they watched it and they loved it. Peter said, "We're back. The Dinosaur Story, Quest for Camelot, Land Before Time, The Prince of Egypt, Road to El Dorado, Swamp Princess, and Anastasia. These are all amazing films from the '90s that like looked like Disney films for the most part. But Don Bluth did such an amazing job, and DreamWorks did such an amazing job. A lot of those people, I mean, came from Disney, right? Don Bluth was, well, I'll actually be talking about Don Bluth soon because I'm going to be talking about who trained him, which is Eric Larson. I'm going to do a Disney Legends video about Eric Larson. So again, if you didn't see Shannon's Mary Weiser video, the first in our Disney Legends series, you got to check that out. And I'm going to be doing a video soon in the next few weeks about Eric Larson, um, who worked at Disney. Madison says, if anyone wants a great, dumb, fun, balls to the wall action film, the anime film Redline. It feels like Star Wars pod racing on acid. The English dub is absolutely incredible. Um, okay, okay. I believe my friend Mike has also seen this film because he watches the dumb, crazy animes. So I'll ask him if he's seen it. Um, yeah. Alex said Quest for Camelot. Yeah, totally. Like these films are like 100% forgotten, 100% forgotten, but they're fantastic. It's really difficult to like stay in the loop when Disney just seems to dominate the animation scene, doesn't it? Like everybody remembers all the Disney movies, but nobody remembers a film like Quest for Camelot. Um, Waking Life. I, have I seen this? I feel like I've seen this. I feel really bad that I haven't seen so many of these. Um, Alex said, I love the art direction of Carmen Sandiego. The animation is okay, but the design and lighting is insanely beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to have some words about it, Alex, and I know that you're a patron, so you'll be able to hear my thoughts on Patreon soon. Um, uh, Relevation Animations, welcome. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an amazing film. It's the reason why I actually decided to do this episode. I felt like so many people were talking about it. Let's talk more non-Disney because Sony Animation killed it. And I feel like it deserves to be the best animated feature at the Academy Awards. I don't feel like Pixar or Disney came even close to beating Into the Spider-Verse, personally. Magnitude Review says Carmen Sandiego worth checking out. Saw Hilda and loved that show. Was wondering if this new show was worth it. I'm going to hold back on my thoughts because I'm going to put it on Patreon. Don't want to give it away. So if you're not a patron on our Patreon, patreon.com/network1901, you can pledge $1 and you get our podcast series, Would You Recommend? And I'll be saying, will I recommend Carmen Sandiego? Um, I don't know. Aaron says, has anyone seen Anastasia? I remember liking it when I was younger. Yes, I remember watching Anastasia, and like everyone else, I initially thought, man, this is a great Disney movie, and then I got woke and realized it's not. And so many people still go to Disneyland. And when I was living near Disneyland, I overheard a couple people asking about Anastasia, and like in not knowingly, not in the way that it's like Cinderella's sister, but like the actual Anastasia. Um, I'm Waking Life. A guy's dreaming and going through different dream sequences, taking to different people having thought-provoking conversations. This seems weird and something like Angie would be into. So, of course, that's something that she would recommend. Sergio Pablos Claus. I think the new Carmen Sandiego looks like the mixture of Esmeralda from Disney's Hunchback and Anastasia from 1997. I don't think it looks like those necessarily. I do think it looks like some other things that are out there, namely things that Alex is working on, aka Rapunzel, Entangled, and Big Hero 6. Well, Alex isn't working. I don't think Alex, you're not working on Big Hero 6, are you? I don't think you are. I think you're just working on Tangled. Anyways, um, let's see. Daryl said, I've just started watching the Godzilla animated trilogy on Netflix. I didn't know this was a thing. Now, I'm going to go on Netflix as soon as this is over and add that to my watch list. Just saying. Yes, it said, I know. It just looks so nice to look at. Yeah, Carmen Sandiego is nice to look at. Cats Don't Dance and the Thief and the Cobbler. You're another person. Peter, somebody else earlier brought up Cats Don't Dance. Again, I feel like I know this film. I do feel like I know this film. I used to dream of going to Paris because of Anastasia. I think that there's where my French obsession started. Alex only works on Tangled. Okay. By the way, Alex works on Tangled, the animated series, in case you're wondering. Magnitude said, Daryl, the Godzilla animated trilogy, really well animated, but the story just becomes incredibly messy and conflated in the second and third film. I mean, isn't that like every Godzilla movie, right? I would think so. Anyways, Planet of the Monsters. Man, I really love B horror movies and I really love Godzilla movies, and I'm so glad that you've told me about this. Before I end this show, though, thank you guys so much for all these recommendations that you've given to me. I want to go out and watch more animation now. I want to talk about them on the channel. Many of you that have come into the chat tonight are pretty new to our live shows, and I hope that you'll stick around on Network 1901 for the long term. We'll be talking more animation. Angie and I are working on the Disney Eras series. Actually, today we started talking about the Silver Era of Disney animation and putting that video together. Angie's also putting together another series. Shannon is working on the history of a Disney princess for Tiana. On Tuesday, we're going to have a video about the origins of True Love's Kiss. So there's a ton of animation talk coming up. We're also going to be doing a live action film eras explained. Somebody asked about that, or actually quite a few people asked about that. So we'll be talking about the live action films of Disney in the future. All these things are coming down the pipeline. We're working hard on all of these things. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out and being a part of this. Angie said, yeah, she has a lot of material all together. She's getting this going. And so thank you guys. We've grown so much. In the last few weeks, we've grown by 1,000 subscribers. Just in like the past like week and a half. It's been insane. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this ride. We really appreciate it. If you have any thoughts about what we should cover in an upcoming video, or maybe questions or anything like that, let me know. Let's talk about it now. We've got a few more minutes before I'm going to end this stream. So thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. Magnitude said National Treasure is the best Disney movie. It's funny that you mentioned National Treasure. I was talking about that with my friend Jay Shearer, who is also from the Story Geeks podcast, because we want to do a podcast all about Nick Cage movies. I know that Daryl's in the chat. He also wants to be part of the Nick Cage show, and National Treasure was one of the movies that we talked about in talking about the career of Nick Cage. Crazy Nick Cage. Gotta love Nick Cage. One more animated classic, the G.I. Joe movie. Yeah, is that a classic? Are we going to call that a classic? I mean, I feel like the G.I. Joe movie is no. Alex said, I think I can convince my boyfriend to listen to the Nick Cage series by you guys. Did he, by the way, for those of you that don't know, we've done tons of different podcasts. If you go to our podcast feed, which is in the description down below, we've got a ton of different podcasts that we've done over time, including myself and Jay did a whole show about Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum. We called the show Goldbluming. We're calling the Nick Cage show Uncaged. But I wonder, Alex, did he listen to the Goldbluming show? I'd love to know. Is the first Brave Little Toaster considered a Disney movie? It was just distributed by them. But again, nobody brought that up. Brave Little Toaster is a beautiful movie. I've actually thought about doing an entire video about the Brave Little Toaster, and what it was and why it was kind of a cult classic. I didn't see any of the sequels. I believe there's 2 sequels to the Brave Little Toaster. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate that so much for hanging out with me. Yeah, Magnitude said it's distributed by. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. We do these every Sunday. It's either myself, Angie, or Shannon sitting here chatting with you guys. By the way, these live shows kind of go away after a while. So if you go to our channel and you go like, hey, where are all the live shows? They're only for people who want to check them out. The only way to see them long lasting is to go to our Patreon page, and I'll be better about posting them on Patreon for you, all you patrons. But I'll be giving my thoughts on Patreon really soon about Carmen Sandiego. I'll also be posting this on the Patreon page tonight. And the only way that you can watch it past tomorrow is if you are a Patreon. For $1, patreon.com/network1901. For $3, you can join our Discord and chat with us all the time. We just launched a second podcast series on Patreon called Geek Out, about things that we've never seen before, things that we've never done, and certainly you guys gave me a lot of ammo for animated things that I've never seen before that I will certainly be talking about over there on Patreon at the $5 level. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Brittany, thank you for coming in. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm going to go drink some hot tea now because my voice is very tired. And I'm probably going to watch some animated movies that you guys have now all recommended to me. So in the meantime, keep on moving, people, and we're out of here. Thank you so much.